Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 7 of season 5 of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, where today we're here back for the duel in the Formula 1 crown. It's always special. We're back here at the Monaco Grand Prix. Yes, round 7 of the season. This track has given us a fair bit of controversy over recent years. We've had gearbox issues around here. We've had DRS failures around here. It's always been a track that, has been a bit up and down for us over the course of F1 2020. But heading back to the Monaco Grand Prix this weekend, hopefully we can continue on with our good run of form. If you missed out on the last video from Spain, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. It was probably, right up there as one of the best races of this series so far. So obviously, definitely go back and check that one out. Of course, there will be spoilers in 3, 2, 1 now. So last time then, the Spanish Grand Prix, we got another win on the board there. Our teammate Max Verstappen and our really main championship rival at the moment, unfortunately, didn't make it to the end of the Grand Prix. He got classified P20. The engine failed with 4 laps to go there, so maybe a few questions are being raised about the reliability of our car at the moment there. But 3 wins and 3 third places for us give us a 29-point lead in the Drivers' World Championship, but over a race wins margin over our teammate at the moment there. Pierre Gasly's had 3 second places and 3 sevenths that leave him comfortably in P3 overall as we head into Monaco this weekend. But the likes of George Russell, he's getting a few more points on the board after a rough start to the season. Can he finally get back towards the top of the table? As while their only time will tell, let's dive in here to the Monaco Grand Prix. Quickly before we dive into this video though, a massive thank you once again to Codemasters. They have given you guys the opportunity to get Dirt 5 for 50% off currently for either the standard or the 1-year edition over on PC. If you click on the top link down in the description, you will be sent over to the Codemasters store, and then if you head through there and head over to Green Man Gaming, you'll be given 50% off of Dirt 5 if it's something that you're interested in picking up. I played this game before. I absolutely love the playground mode on it as well, as you can currently see on your screens. And obviously, if you do click through that link and buy the game, you also help support the channel as well. So yeah, if it's a game you're interested in, make sure you click that top link down in the description below. And yeah, a massive thank you once again to Codemasters, obviously, for giving us the opportunity to give this game to you guys on half price. Thank you all, and let's get on with the video. Well, you don't get much more of a spectacle in Formula 1 than this qualifying day for the Monaco Grand Prix. Arguably the most important day on the Formula 1 calendar for a lot of teams and drivers. It's a racetrack that obviously can change up the order quite a bit, really make things interesting as well. And hopefully today we can really try and get the car to the front of the field. However, what on earth is Valtteri Bottas doing on our first run? The Mercedes man clearly not knowing how to get out of the way as we head through the first sector. Luckily we're on a set of mediums, just trying to get more laps in under our belt, just trying to get more and more used to the car around this circuit. Again, I've really noticed this Challenger to be so oversteery, just snap little throttle blips really do unsettle the rear, as you'd probably come to expect. But generally, so far a lot of the cars we've driven have been pretty planted on F1 2020, down through the chicane, take as much curb as you dare, and then on the way out to back has actually been one of my most difficult corners this weekend so far. No dramatics through there this time around, as well. Purple through the middle sector will skim the wall as we head through the second part of the swimming pool chicane, down in towards the final couple of corners of our first flying lap then. Where is it going to put us? We need to be looking at about a 108, which is definitely not going to be a 109.5. Will not be anywhere near good enough for Q3, but that was on the mediums. And that's how you get out of the way of another car, Bottas. So heading out then for our last ditch attempt run on a set of these soft compounded tyres. Currently, we're right on the cusp on these mediums, so obviously if no one else can improve, then it might be worth bailing out this lap and starting the Grand Prix on mediums tomorrow, but I don't really want to risk it. Oh no, obviously we've had so many good races. Well, I've started the top 10 so far this season, but Monaco, is definitely not one that I want to be doing it on F1 2020. Really, I've got to be precise with your turning points. You can see already, by the end of Sector 1, obviously we have Bottas holding this up last time round. Almost a second up as we head through the hairpin on this lap. 1.3 up now as we head through Lower Mirabeau here. Really just sort of threading the needle, dancing the car through the corners. And yeah, now we're down into 11th, so we do need to try and keep it tidy over the rest of this lap. In towards the final sector, we might have hit the wall on the inside of the swimming pool chicane last time around, but we were way off the apex that time through as we head down in towards the final couple of turns. It's been a bit of a sloppy end to the lap, but we are going to be about 1.2 seconds up as we cross the line there, and I think that's P2 at the end of Q2 there, so very, very happy with that one. I think it was Guan Yu Zhou that was quickest there after just missing out on a podium last weekend. Clearly Monaco suits him and that Ferrari. There we go, official confirmation. Bottas actually ended up being the fastest man there on a 1:07.8, so very, very quick lap times coming in towards the end there. We actually went quicker than Guan Yu Zhou, but still in P3 at the end of Q2 there. Any major surprises dropping out in Q2? I guess Hamilton in Red Bull should be a major surprise. It really isn't so far this season there. But yeah, both racing points, both Renaults, and the Alfa Romeo of Matsushita there. So who went out in Q1? It must have been the McLaren of Lando Norris there, who's going to be starting right towards the rear of the field. But yeah, we've got 2 chances then in Q3. Let's not waste them. Here we are then, ready for Q3 for the Monaco Grand Prix. We've got Ferrari just in front of us, about to start their lap, but yeah, we need to be aiming for a 1:07 in this session if we want to be anywhere near the front of the field there. So hopefully 67 seconds is all it takes to potentially seal yourself a little bit of glory around the streets of Monaco. But heading up through the top of the hill, that's not definitely going to be the line. Not too bad, but not great either as we head down the other side. Charles Leclerc, homeboy, currently fastest on a 1:08.6. We should still go a whole lot quicker than that if we keep this all hooked up nice and tidy, but much easier said than done around this place. Bottas now on a 1:08.4 as everyone slowly winds back up, gets ready for their final runs in qualifying. I'm still intrigued to see what Verstappen can do, since he's got through into Q3 on a set of mediums, so he probably will get off to a good start in tomorrow's Grand Prix. But down in towards the final sector then. Oh no, that's going to be our first run over and done with then. We went purple through Sector 2 still, but yeah, now it becomes one shot as I, for some reason, oversteer into a wall. So this has suddenly become one shot qualifying for pole position at the Monaco Grand Prix. Max Verstappen currently fastest on a 1:07 there. He's not going to improve at the end of this session, but can we try and get our car onto the very least the front row there? I think George Russell is currently P2 on a 1:07.9, but we need to absolutely nail this lap if we want to try and get it on to pole there, and that's not going to help us again. Struggling with understeer as we reach the top of the hill there. Down the other side we go. How far off are we at the moment? A 10th down on Pierre Gasly, who's obviously not at the front of the field. Sector 2 generally where we're pretty quick. That line through the hairpin though is not going to help us out at all, as we're just taking too much curb, getting a little bit too unsettled in the car as we're trying to find every possible inch. Well, they always say Monaco is about making the track as wide as possible, but so far I think we're taking it a bit too much to the extreme. Down in towards the hairpin, really attack the sausage curbs on the way in, almost walloping the wall on the way out, as we try to maintain as much momentum as possible here. Down in towards Sector 3, running purple in Sector 2 there, right the chicane, the curbs through the chicane there. Final couple of corners, oh that's not good, we've almost shumied it in towards the final turn there, but we know when to carry on the throttle and when to stop. Up towards the finish line, it's only going to be an 8.5, and that's going to leave us in the mid-pack here in Monaco. 5th place on the grid, not as bad as I thought it would be, in all honesty, but still not quite what we needed.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Verstappen, Russell and Valtteri Bottas. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
There we go then, it is Max Verstappen on a 1:07.6 at the end of qualifying there. A ferocious lap by our teammate. George Russell P2 ahead of Valtteri Bottas 3rd. Charles Leclerc, the homeboy, in P4 ahead of myself, both Alpha Towers. Then Sainz, Albon and Guan Yu Zhou round out your top 10 there. But yeah, definitely felt like we could have at least been 4th. Probably could have got ourselves onto the front row of the grid alongside our teammate Verstappen there. But keeping out of the wars is going to be interesting. Safety cars can always spring a surprise as well here. Let's dive in. It's time for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino, first opened in 1863. And, of course, a certain road race, first held here in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill, past the casino, and then descend downwards towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners at Saint-Devote. And don't expect to see much overtaking here today. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Mr. Monaco, and Kvyat, Gasly, Sainz, Albon, and Guan Yu Zhou, Hamilton, Ocon, Sergio Perez, and Stroll, Matsushita, Magnussen, Nicholas Latifi, and Lando Norris. King, Raikkonen, De Vries, they've taken a grid penalty, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix, round 7 of the Formula 1 World Championship, and this is the race that everyone, of course, wants to win. 39 laps ahead of us around the Principality. Max Verstappen on pole. We start down in P5, one of our better qualifying positions of the year. Max has just been relentless at the front of the field there, but hopefully, if we can try and get a good, clean start, maybe see if we can get past Charles Leclerc down in towards turn 1, we can get off to a good race here today. If Max can hold on to the lead, he is looking pretty set to try and take this one away here. Starting on the harder compounded tyres, he can really just go right through this Grand Prix and then obviously pit onto some softs towards the very end there. But I've got no idea why this is suddenly a thing on F1 2020. My steering is straight and apparently we look off to the left. You will not believe how frustrated I've been during practice and qualifying as to why that's been a thing on F1 today. But strategy though, one stop, pretty simple. Lap 11, lap 39. We're gone 4.5 laps under on the fuel as well here. But yeah, this one is going to be an absolute slog nonetheless. We're ready on the grid though. Round 7 of the season. It's the race everyone wants to take home. It's 5 red lights here for the Monaco Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Off to a decent little start. Actually, we might be able to look up the inside of Charles Leclerc in towards turn 1. They're very, very aggressive, but we do send it up the inside of the Ferrari man there as Max Verstappen has held on to the lead, as well as Russell and Bottas go side by side up the hill for the first time in this Grand Prix. Oh, Bottas doesn't get a particularly good run off the corner. He seems vulnerable. We'll have a look up the inside wall at the inside Armco as we head up through Upper Mirabeau there, but I think we have made the move work. They got yellow flags out, so Bottas won't be able to retaliate, and that has been a dream little start to the Monaco Grand Prix for ourselves there. Up 2 spots as we've got a safety car. What is that for in this race? I think has one of the McLaren's been, I think one of the racing points might have been turned around there. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get any replays of that, just because F1 doesn't like to show stuff at the moment for me. Don't really know why mid-race, but yeah, I think there was a scuffle between one of the racing points and the McLarens there off the start of the Grand Prix, but it's been a good little start at 2 spots for ourselves. Max Verstappen still in the lead. Obviously no point in pitting at the moment. We may as well claim track position, but at least we can get rid, or at least get closer to the estimated fuel target that we need. But yeah, good little start. So we're getting ready to go green then once again as we head onto lap 4 of the Monaco Grand Prix. The field is bunched up and we're trying to think about having a look on the move on George Russell there. We haven't responded well to the lights though as we head through the final corner, struggling actually with tyre temps as we head out the final turn. The AI is so strong heading down in towards the final couple of corners of lap 4 though. You can see just how well that restart's worked out for Verstappen and George Russell here. Max Verstappen in a league of his own, down into the 110s already on those medium tyres there as we go purple through the final sector. I think Bottas, though, made a bit of a mistake off the restart because he lost the place to Charles Leclerc. We've got yellow flags out. That's one of the Alfa Romeos going slowly in this Grand Prix there. But yeah, Valtteri Bottas has had to dive into the pit lane there for an unscheduled stop just after the safety car as Matsushita out. And we got a second safety car in 5 laps. Monaco never fails to deliver.
Slow down, maintain positive delta.
Right, let's go again then, here from the Monaco Grand Prix. End of lap 7, start of lap 8. Is Verstappen going to do the same thing as he did last time round? As George Russell again just clips the inside wall. Yeah, Verstappen does go at the same point. We're a lot more aware of it this time round though, as we head out the final corner. As green flag racing once again here from the Monaco Grand Prix. Hopefully now we'll be able to actually rack up some laps in this race. Very much one of those tracks like Singapore where it feels more like an endurance than sort of more of a sprint race that F1 races often feel like. But yeah, this time around though, feeling a whole lot more confident in the car as we head down the hill all over the back of George Russell. We know how strong this car is on race pace. We've seen how quick Verstappen is so far this weekend. But yeah, if we can try and have a look past Russell, maybe, just maybe, the win is still on here. Certainly doesn't have the pace to hang with Max Verstappen at this stage of the racing. See, Max has romped away of this second restart here as we're starting to think about when to pit in this race. The soft tyres definitely starting to overheat just a little bit here. Is George Russell going to dive it in? No, he's not. George Russell's going to go another lap in this Grand Prix. There's always the fear of being undercut, but on the other hand, I think no matter when you pit, you're probably going to end up in a bit of traffic at this stage of the day. So I want to try and overcut if possible here, but that's going to be much easier said than done. Ocon, look at that, I'm in 5th place on a set of medium tyres there. No idea how the Frenchman is managing that at the moment, but he could be looking strong for a big result here as we go all kinds of fishtaily down the hill though. These tyres definitely have seen better days. Does now mean this lap needs to be almost like a qualifying style lap around this circuit here to make sure that we can try and get around George Russell. These tyres feel like we're driving on ice at the moment. We have taken them a couple of laps longer than the game had originally estimated, but yeah, they certainly feel like they've hit the cliff at the moment. You can see Perez up in 4th place there with a penalty, so I'm not too sure what the Mexican has been doing. I'm guessing he was the one that got involved with one of the McLarens then on lap 1 here, which obviously gave us the first safety car of the day. But Hamilton up in 5th place now on those hards. He could be going a long way into this Grand Prix as well there. So we are one of the only soft runners still from the start of the Grand Prix by the looks of it. But as we head down through to back, just trying to be a little bit more cautious with the car, not chucking it over the curbs as much. As soon as I say that, we chuck it over the curbs. But down in towards the final sector of the lap, in towards the final turn. Oh, we get all kinds of fishtaily in towards the pit lane. Luckily, the autopilot takes over and catches that slide. But you can see both Mercedes, they're stuck in a whole host of traffic down in the midfield here. So I think, well, hopefully we'll end up ahead of that McLaren and Alfa Romeo. I can't guarantee it at the moment. 2.2 second stop, that's exactly what we need as we head out of the final corner here and back out onto the race circuit. Can we try and stay out in front of the Haas car? I think Grosjean, not Grosjean, sorry, that's a blast from the past. Nick de Vries even, I should say. Got a little bit spooked there as we head out of the pit lane, and we've come out in front of a whole host of traffic in this Monaco Grand Prix here. We've only really got Magnussen that we need to navigate over the next few laps there, and this has suddenly worked out very well for us. Yeah, I'll be honest, I can't see Kevin Magnussen being someone that's going to give us too many issues in this Grand Prix. A very, very aggressive driver. Look at that, round the outside in towards the final corner. That wasn't quite where I planned on making the move. There was a bit of contact. These mediums are grading so much better than the softs did at the start of the Grand Prix. I won 10.2, new fastest lap of the Grand Prix as we nick the outside wall down in towards the first corner there. Luckily, that was just tyre face to Armco, so we get away with it. But yeah, now we're closing in on Kimi Räikkönen. I can't imagine it's going to be long before we're trying to get past the Renault. Got at the moment, obviously, is that Räikkönen is going to have some DRS from Lewis Hamilton, so it might have to be a bit of a dive in towards the first corner here if we can try and get a good run out of the final couple of turns. Let's just wait and see. Kimi Räikkönen, always a pretty steady head there, and yeah, nowhere near close enough that time round. Try and get a run out of the final corner here as we head back down in towards turn 1. Still right under the rear wing of Räikkönen. These are race-defining laps at the moment here. We cannot afford to waste time as we think about it. Up in towards the Casino Square section of this Monaco Grand Prix. Nowhere to go though that time round. Again, we think about it as we head back down the hill. We're trying to fill Räikkönen's mirrors at the moment, in towards the hairpin. It's going to be a very, very aggressive move. We take a lot of curb, but we do slip up the inside, and we're now up to 5th of the Monaco Grand Prix. Hopefully Hamilton and his Red Bull on his hard compound tyres might be a little bit easier to navigate. But that was a very, very risky move on Raikkonen, but I think he knew it was coming. So it gave us just about enough room. We've got yellow flags out behind. I think that's just General Constantina and up again. Hamilton going very, very slowly through the final couple of corners here. Can we try and get a good run out of the final turn there? Hamilton's going to go a bit defensive. No, he's going to move back to the racing line, but have a look up the inside in towards the first corner there, and that is 2 positions in a lap here at the Monaco Grand Prix. Now we've got 7 seconds up the road to Sergio Perez there, and another couple to Esteban Ocon in P2. These are race-defining laps at the moment. If Max Verstappen's struggling just a little bit more than us, which you'd imagine he is on those harder tyres, we could get out in front of him and then really park the bus. Which then Max Verstappen into the pit lane not long after, so I reckon he's going on hards to the end of the Grand Prix, so he won't really have a tyre advantage over us in the latter stages of this race. But I think, to be honest, he's probably still going to come out ahead of us in this Monaco Grand Prix, miles ahead of us, as he's already heading through the first couple of corners. Now, I think he's going to stay out in the lead of the Grand Prix, so Max Verstappen has absolutely finessed this race up to this point now. Rejoins the circuit, still out in the lead, ahead of Ocon and Perez. Oh, there we go, Ocon next man into the pit lane, so we will now move up into P3 of this race. There is purple through the final sector. Once again, we're closing in on Perez, but are we closing in on Verstappen? I think we are just a little bit. Are we going to see Perez in? Yes, we are. Into lap 20, Perez, one of the last men on his mediums, into the pit lane. But at the moment, we are absolutely flying, and Verstappen doesn't seem that confident on his hard compounded tyres. I'll be honest, I'm a bit surprised as to why the team got him on those hards, because they just don't really grain all too well around this circuit. Obviously, we found that out in Friday's free practice session. However, they really never have done on F1 2020. So we're going about a second a lap faster than our teammate at the moment. This race isn't over. New fastest lap of the Grand Prix, as we're just reeling in Max Verstappen there. I think it was about a second and a half we took out of him that time round. 18 laps to go here. We're certainly not home and dry just yet. We've only barely crossed the halfway stage of the Grand Prix, despite the amount of action that we've had early on. But yeah, look at that, Ocon still up in the podium places at the moment. So could Renault be on for a historic result here in the Monaco Grand Prix? I think Perez is still in P4 there. As I think, he served his penalty, hasn't he? So Perez, is actually in a net P4 of this Grand Prix at the moment. So things looking very, very good for those two ahead of Russell and Bottas. And now we sit and wait behind our teammate Max Verstappen. It might take a couple of laps just to suss out where he's not quite as strong as ourselves, where he's losing a heap of that time. But yeah, now we are very, very much sort of Verstappen. The roles have been reversed for him, like he was in 2019 against Lewis Hamilton. Now it's the other way around, and we're just trying to see if we can find a move. Max Verstappen's dominated the first half of this Grand Prix. He's led from the beginning to now, but is it about to become a bit undone? At the final corner, we've got a decent run on our teammate. Obviously, we've got the identical power units in the cars there, but up the inside we go of our teammate Max Verstappen. I don't want to put him in the wall. He was very, very aggressive, but yeah, we can't afford to take much time, just in case these tyres do go off a bit later on. And we're now up into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix with 16 to go here. And that is exactly what we need. But, again, we're not home and dry just yet. It's a very fine balance now as we head in towards the final stages of this Grand Prix. Quick but careful, I think is the way we're going to have to describe it at the moment, as we just want to pull away a little bit of time from our teammate Verstappen, just in case these tyres hit a bit of a cliff towards the end, and we need to try and defend a little bit more. But again, on the other hand, we've kept it out of the Armcos up to this point. Let's continue with that strategy.
We think we may see some rain. ETA is about 15 minutes.
Well, that's not quite what you want to hear around the streets of Monaco, but that should, if that 15-minute prediction is accurate, be just after the race is finished, so hopefully that won't be too much to worry about with 10 to go here from Monaco. I think we're going to have to start dealing with some lap traffic soon, as we built up the gap to Verstappen to almost 7 seconds now since we got past him, so things looking rather good. As I think it is... Who is it, actually? The first car we're going to have to lap. Ah, of course, how could I forget? It was always going to be our former teammate Jordan King round the outside. And yeah, blue flags shouldn't be too bad at the moment, but I'm a bit worried about this next gaggle of cars. Well, it certainly has been a Monaco GP weekend to forget for poor Lando Norris. They're still down in 20th place at this late stage of the race. But yeah, down out in Q1. And yeah, really just hasn't been able to get anywhere near through the field. Next up, Latifi. Come on, get out of the way. Just... Okay. Thanks, Nick, I suppose. You're going to be easy to just bail out there, but he's going to move out of the way at last. Maybe Lando Norris can use that to sneak by him as well there. I'm not quite sure what that was from Latifi, I'll be honest with you. I think this might be the last car we need to lap in this Grand Prix, and luckily for us, Giovinazzi is going to make it much easier than his teammate did. 5 to go here from Monaco. We've got 11 seconds now over our teammate Verstappen, who still has now just lapped Jordan King in this Grand Prix. But yeah, Raikkonen, the next car at the road for us, a long way in front. Let's just get this thing to the flag. Here we go then, final lap of the Monaco Grand Prix. And I know we've said it a lot of times this season, but again, another race where it all falls into place for us. I must admit, this one though I felt like, wasn't quite as lucky as we've seen on a couple of occasions. Spain last time out was just perfect the way the weather came in for ourselves. Monaco I've always got good race pace at, and today we have proved it once again. I'm sure Max Verstappen will be left asking questions of the strategy at the end of the day. They're very, very weird that qualifying on the harder tyre forced him into an even worse strategy than normal. Rather than opening up opportunities, really sort of shut down any chance for him at the end of the day. He has taken some time out of us towards the end here, as I think the tyres are very, very much now hitting the cliff in the final stages here from Monaco. But it's always been a good track for us. I think this might actually be the very first 1-2 I'm going to get at the Monaco Grand Prix with our teammate. Now, I know back in Season 3, George Russell had issues around this circuit, but in towards the final couple of turns, Mercedes are surely going to be asking what happened as well. They're 42 seconds off the race lead at the end of the day, but through the final corner, it's going to be another win here in Monte Carlo. That's what I'm talking about.
That's a race win and your second race win in a row. Fantastic job.
There's a few disappointed faces up and down the pit wall after that one, but not here. They've secured a phenomenal victory. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. Mr. Monaco increases their championship lead. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
Difficult call, but I'd like to say Esteban Ocon. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of his tyres, and he showed that today. Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on the track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick. I know that's at odds with the official decision, but I think they deserve some recognition on a day where both of these drivers are at the top of their game.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. There was also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
But there we are then, guys, the end of the Monaco Grand Prix. And did anyone finish in the position they started in this weekend? No, they did not. That goes to show just how decent this race was at the end of the day there. But from 5th on the grid, we get fastest lap and the race victory there, the full 26 points on the board. Those 2 safety cars early on really did allow us to open up the strategy just a little bit more on those soft compound tyres, and allow us to push on the mediums and not have to worry so much about wear at the end of the day. Like I said, Max Verstappen, I'm sure, will be asking the team questions in the debrief tonight, but a good job as well by Ocon and Perez from 12th and 13th on the grid, really to get the strategy perfected there to come through 3rd and 4th place there. Perez could have definitely bagged 3rd had he not got that penalty, but considering where he was at the start, not a bad job done nonetheless there. George Russell in 5th ahead of Bottas, rather alarmingly for Bottas. Just his 2nd points of the year. They're very, very worrying, the form that the Finn has portrayed early on this season. Kvyat, Charles Leclerc, Homeboy, Pierre Gasly and Albon round out your top 10 at the end of the day there, and you can see the rest of your finishes there with just the Alfa Romeo of Matsushita not making it to the checkered flag. Championship-wise, though, 37 now, the gap at the top of the field. In fact, Pierre Gasly is closer to Verstappen than Verstappen is to ourselves still at the moment. Just goes to show how strong we've been early on this season there. Russell still in 4th ahead of Albon. Kvyat, Ocon and Perez all move past Lando Norris after his tour day out today. Charles Leclerc gets himself inside the top 10, still ahead of Bottas there, and you can see Carlos Sainz tied with the Mercedes man down in 12th place there. Stroll and Hamilton get relegated down as Guan Yu Zhou still last of the major point scorers. Obviously Nicholas Latifi with that 1 point on the board as well there. Constructors-wise, the gap 143 now at the top of the table there, as Mercedes get the jump on Red Bull, Ferrari get the jump on Renault, and then Alfa Romeo get the jump on Haas based on count. How on earth have they managed that on countbacks and they were last and DNF'd in that Grand Prix? Not too sure what F1's maths is here today. But thank you all so much for watching this video nonetheless. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and yeah, we'll be back very, very soon, ready for round 8 of the season. We head to the Canadian Grand... No, we don't. We head to Baku before Canada. I remembered. I'll see you guys there. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.